The door slammed shut so hard that the glasses in the cabinet rattled. I stood motionless in the kitchen, gripping my phone whose screen still glowed with the message that turned my entire world upside down. Sasha, I'm pregnant. It's not yours. Signed by Lena. My Lena. The woman with whom I shared this old two-bedroom apartment for 10 years, Sunday borscht, and dreams of a baby we couldn't conceive. Now here it was. Only not mine. His. From Vitya. Are you deaf? I roared as soon as she entered, throwing her purse to the floor. Her blonde hair was disheveled, cheeks flushed as if she'd just finished jogging, and those green eyes, those damned green eyes I used to kiss good morning, looked right through me. Explain yourself, Lenka. What the hell does this mean? She froze at the threshold, fingers nervously fiddling with her purse strap. Silence hung heavy in the air, oppressive like before a thunderstorm. Then she sighed, barely audible. I wanted to tell you, for a long time. Just didn't know how. Didn't know how. I threw the phone onto the table, it clattered and slid to the edge. Having an affair with Vitya was easier, eh? My best friend, Len. The guy who made speeches at our wedding, spouting crap about eternal love. She flinched. Chin lifted, her gaze held a mixture of guilt and defiance. It wasn't planned, Sasha. It just happened. Once. After that drunken party at the cottage, remember? You passed out, and then, she trailed off, voice wavering. It wasn't intentional. Accidental? I took a step toward her, blood pounding in my temples. So now you're pregnant with his kid, and you're telling me it was accidental? How long have you hidden this, Len? Months? Since he told you he'd dump Natasha for you? Her expression twisted, as if I'd struck her. She clenched her fists, fingernails digging into palms, a habit I knew too well, signaling her fear or rage. Perhaps both simultaneously. Don't you dare. She cried out. Don't you dare treat me like a whore. I never asked for this, okay? When I found out, I was shocked too. And you were always gone, working your ass off, buried in blueprints. When was the last time you hugged me? Talked to me like normal people instead of acting like neighbors? I froze. Her words, sharp as broken glass, pierced my chest. Yes, I'd busted my ass at construction sites, picking up overtime shifts to pay off the mortgage on this apartment, building our future. Meanwhile, she'd accidentally hooked up with Vitya at the cottage. I gritted my teeth till my jaw ached. So that's my fault, right? My voice dropped low, hoarse. I built everything for us, and you cuckolded me because I didn't bring enough flowers? Serious question, Lena. She turned away, pressing her palm to her mouth. Shoulders shook, whether from tears or anger, I couldn't tell. I stared at her, unable to recognize her. Where was the Lenka who laughed at my corny jokes? Who cooked soup when I stumbled home exhausted after a shift? The woman standing before me, with tangled hair, pale face, and a foreign child growing inside her, was a stranger. Completely alien. We met at university, me, an architecture student, and her, vibrant, smiling, with a notebook full of thoughts. I called her poetess. 10 years ago, we wed, simple ceremony, small registry office, followed by an all-night celebration with friends. Vitya was there, naturally. My childhood buddy. He'd wrapped his arm around Lena's waist, winked at me, take care of her, San, she's a treasure. And I did. As best I could. But lately, everything had gone awry. Work drained me, Lena resented my constant weariness. We yearned for a child, but doctors shrugged helplessly, keep trying. She cried silently at night, and I didn't know how to comfort her. Maybe I really had drifted away. Vitya, he was always around. Showed up with beer, cracked jokes, made Lena laugh. Never imagined anything could happen between them. Married himself, with a daughter growing up. Yeah, and Lena, she was mine. Used to be. What are you planning to do now? I asked when the silence became unbearable. My voice sounded hollow, distant. Going to him? Or what? She slowly faced me. Eyes glistened with tears, but there was also determination. I don't know, Sasha. Vitya said he'll figure things out. But I don't want to go to him. I don't even know what I want. She paused, lowering her head. I'm sorry. Sorry? I chuckled bitterly. You wrecked my life, and now I'm supposed to forgive you? Get lost, Len, with your sorry bullshit. I grabbed my jacket and stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door so hard plaster probably rained down. Outdoors, the chill bit my skin, wind lashing my face, but I walked on, oblivious to the path beneath my feet. Images flashed through my mind, Lenka with Vitya, their laughter at the cottage, her hand in his. That child. Another man's child. And me, left with nothing. 10 years, down the drain. Yet somewhere deep within, beneath all the rage and hurt, a nagging thought stirred. Hadn't I contributed to losing her? Couldn't I have paid more attention while constructing our bright future? I halted mid-street, shoved my hands into pockets, and stared upward at the dark sky. Answers weren't there. Only coldness and silence. My feet led me to Vitya's entranceway. Light streamed yellow from his third-floor windows, casting long shadows. I pictured him inside, with Natasha, playing the happy family game, pretending nothing had happened. Pretending he hadn't invaded my life and torn it apart. Phone in hand, fingers trembled, from anger or cold, I couldn't tell. Dialed his number. Each ring echoed like a stab to my nerves. Finally, a click, then his voice, familiar, slightly husky, with that ever-present smirk. Sanik, what's up calling in the middle of the night? Can't sleep? Come outside, I said, voice foreign, cold as steel. Need to talk. Pause. I heard him cough, shuffle, probably rising from the couch. What's wrong? He asked, devoid of his usual ease. He knew. Felt it. Get out here, Vit. Or I'll come up. And then I'll greet your Natasha too. He cursed under his breath, soft but audible. Minutes later, the front door banged open, revealing him, old leather jacket, dark messy hair falling over his forehead. Face tense, eyes darting. Before, I'd have assumed he was merely tired post-work. Now I saw only betrayal. So, he stopped a few steps away, hands thrust into pockets. What's up? You slept with Lenka, I stated flatly, locking eyes with him. Not a question, a statement. Let him lie if he dares. He glanced away, jaw tightening. Silence stretched taut, like rubber bands, then he breathed out. Yeah. Did, once, Sonia. Drunk, she was drunk too, both of us weren't ourselves. I didn't plan it. Didn't plan it? I stepped closer, causing him to involuntarily retreat. And the kid? Is that another didn't plan, huh? She told me everything, Vitya. About the cottage, about you too. Do you even grasp what you've done to me? His face paled, but he quickly composed himself. Looked up, flash of anger crossing his features. And do you think I'm happy about it? Think I dreamed of stealing your Lenka? It was a mistake, Sonia. A goddamn mistake. I love Natasha, I have a family. Mistake? I seized his collar and pushed him against the brick wall. He collided with a thud but didn't fight back. You've been my friend for 10 years, Vidyak. 10 fucking years. Now my wife carries your kid. You looked me in the eye, laughed with me, while secretly. I stopped, voice breaking. Hands trembled, desperate to punch him hard enough to knock his teeth loose, but I restrained myself. Not out of pity, out of pride. Won't sink to his level. Sorry, he muttered finally, hanging his head. I don't know how to fix this. Lena approached me afterward, saying she was pregnant. Told her to talk to you, too. Shut up, I interrupted harshly. Don't mention her name. You're no longer my friend, Vitya. Nor my brother. You're nobody to me. I released him, watched him slouch against the wall, deflated. Turned and walked away. Bitter acid burned in my chest, but I didn't look back. Let him sit there in his filth. Let him ponder how to explain it all to Natasha. Back home, silence greeted me. Lena sat in the kitchen darkness, lit only by the dim streetlight filtering through the curtain. She didn't cry, just stared vacantly, clutching a cold teacup. I hesitated in the doorway, unsure what to say. Rage still simmered, but beneath it crept exhaustion, weighty as concrete. Where were you? She whispered softly, avoiding my gaze. By Vitya, I replied. Had a chat. She shuddered, lifting her eyes. They brimmed with terror, making me almost pity her. Almost. And now what? Her voice trembled, attempting composure. Kicking me out? Or what? I remained silent for a long stretch. Studied her, those familiar features, the mole above her eyebrow, delicate fingers I once kissed. Realized I still loved her. Despite everything. But forgiveness? Beyond my capabilities. I don't know, Len, I admitted finally. Have no clue what lies ahead for us. Things won't be the same as before. Understand that? She nodded slowly, effort etching each movement. Then rose, approached me, and unexpectedly embraced me, tightly, desperately, reminiscent of happier times. I stiffened, sensing her body heat, scent of cinnamon mingled with something homey. For the first time that evening, my eyes prickled with moisture. I don't want to lose you, Sasha, she murmured into my shoulder. But I don't know how to fix this mess. I offered no response. Merely stood there, contemplating how our lives now resembled a shattered cup. Glue could restore it, but cracks would forever mar its surface. Time might reveal answers. Or perhaps not. A week passed. It dragged on like an eternity, filled with silences, unsaid words, and fleeting glances. I slept on the living room couch, she in the bedroom, and every night I heard her quietly sobbing into her pillow. Morning brought an illusion of normalcy. I brewed coffee, she set plates on the table, and the silence between us rang like a taut string. But that evening, something snapped. I returned from work drenched in rain, head throbbing, emptiness gnawing inside. Lena sat in the kitchen, dressed in an old sweater I gifted her eons ago, staring out the window. On the table sat a bowl of Olivier salad, meticulously chopped cucumber, just how I liked it. She hadn't prepared it since New Year's Eve. I paused in the doorway, studying her, this silly oversized sweater, her pale cheeks. And realized I couldn't endure this charade any longer. Lena, I called softly, my voice wavering like a boy's. She turned, red-eyed but dry. Let's talk. She nodded, lips pursed as if afraid I'd erupt again. I sat opposite her, placing my hands on the tabletop, staring at my calloused, cracked skin, mirroring my inner exhaustion. I keep thinking, I began, words emerging laboriously, like stones unearthed. About us. About how we reached this point. About Vitya, Anne. I faltered but forced myself to continue, about the baby. She tensed, curling her fingers into fists. But I raised a hand, halting her protest. Wait. Let me finish. I was furious, Lena. Infuriated beyond belief. I wanted to rip both of you apart, kick you out, erase you from my life. But then I realized that without you, I'm worse off than with all this agony. You're not a stranger to me. 10 years don't vanish overnight. And I refuse to lose you. Hope glimmered faintly in her widened eyes, fragile as dawn's first rays after a long night. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off again. I'm not saying I'll forget. I won't, Lena. Don't expect miracles. I don't know how I'll cope with this. But I'm willing to try. For us. For what we had. And I swallowed hard, for this child. He hasn't sinned. And you're still my wife. Silence enveloped us, punctuated only by the drips from the bathroom tap. Then she suddenly gasped, launching herself across the table to embrace me ferociously, burying her face in my neck. I felt her tears streaming down my skin. Sasha, please forgive me, she pleaded. I wrapped my arms around her, feeling her tremble. My chest tightened, pain mingled with love, overwhelming me. Stroking her hair, inhaling the familiar scent of cinnamon, I reflected that perhaps we truly could heal. Slowly, imperfectly, but somehow. I love you too, Lena, I finally managed, voice rough but steady. That's why I'm forgiving you. But don't ever do this again, hear me? Ever. She nodded, nestling deeper into my shoulder, and we sat entwined in the darkness, amidst the aroma of olive salad and rain tapping on the window panes. Later, she lifted her head, gazing at me with those green eyes, void of guilt for the first time in weeks. I knew then that I'd chosen wisely. Time passed. I wouldn't claim everything returned to normal, the cracks persisted, and occasionally I caught myself staring at her, recalling Vitya. But I banished those thoughts. Lena transformed, softer, attentive, almost fearful of losing me again. I learned to rebuild trust, inch by painful inch. When our son was born, I observed him, his tiny hands, dark tufts identical to Vitya's, and braced for a surge of anger. None came. Instead, tenderness flooded me. Pride welled up. I decided he belonged to me, not biologically, but in spirit. We named him Mikhail. Every time Lena tucked him in, humming a lullaby, and I sat beside her, listening, I reflected that life may deliver gut-punching blows, but we're stronger than that. We survived. Together.